name is Margaret. I will be your broadcast engineer for today. I'm here with the lovely Nick Hunter, here to do day 2 of Script Triggers, which is always going to be really fun. We had a fun day yesterday, and we'll have a fun day today. Quick reminder, we do stream on 3 platforms. We better with all the effort I just put to fix it. Discord, Twitch, and YouTube. I follow all of those conversations. I talk to all of you guys. So please let me know uh, if everything is going well. Um, Please talk and let me know how things are going. Real quick, let's do the future schedule. Future schedule. Let's do the future schedule. We're going to reload this. Okay, so we got Script Triggers and FileMaker with Nick Hunter. Tomorrow's going to be Claris Problem Solver Circle. Go for a interesting time watching Richard talk about that. Monday has open Q&A with Nick Hunter. Woo! So all the questions you got for Nick Hunter that Nick Hunter hasn't answered yet, feel free to ask those. Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be the new free serum. It's going to be a launch of Starting Point, basically. And Thursday is going to be FileMaker Developer Tips Colossal Event, which should be very interesting. It'll be fun. Some basic tips that every developer should know. So, with that being said, but I'm done with my spiel now. So, goodbye. Nick, what are we doing today?
Okay, so today, hello everybody. Thank you for the introduction and thank you for joining in today. So it's the second day of the script triggers. So I tried to explain when they start, what they do, when we should use them, when we shouldn't use them, what we should do with them. So I try to establish some basic rules, that I got from experience and observation for 30 years. And that's, I think using triggers, they shouldn't be to overcome an issue, I mean, they should be something working as expected, but not something to fix a problem you have. So I try to understand. I had a conversation yesterday about this. So a trigger is not there to overcome something that you don't want to do, or to, you want to avoid doing something. Oh, let's do a trigger. Okay. So it doesn't work that way. Okay. Because otherwise you will have a very, very weird behavior. So the best way to know when to use a trigger is to put yourself in the seat of the user. Would you like, each time you get out of a field, to have a spinning wheel, your window flickering 5 or 6 times, blah, 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 like this, and a spinning wheel for 5 seconds? Do you want that? Right? Will you feel comfortable? Do you think if you had let's say you go, the music app in your phone, in your Mac, and each time you play a song, you have flickering, and you won't be comfortable with this. Okay, what's wrong? Something wrong. So most of the time that's what we build, and so we need to avoid this. Triggers are not there to fix your problem. They are there to do what they're supposed to do. Okay. So that being said, what they're supposed to do, they're not supposed to go away. When you're editing something like this, right, and you go to another field, you shouldn't go away in another layout and come back, and then, because I saw that a lot of time, right? What I'm saying is, you go to another field, to another layout. So that means you commit it, and then by committing this, you trigger an uncommit script that go to another layout, and then you go to the layout of this guy wants to go. And then, but you need to remember where you were because you want to go to this field, right? So you have a bunch of go to layout, go to field, go to this, commit and commit. You have created things because you want to do something that is not supposed to be. Okay, so always you need to. You don't. The basic rule is, when you do use when you do use a trigger, you don't use it to go somewhere else unless you make it explicit, as I showed yesterday, and you show it in a cast-out window. Say, okay, hey, I'm doing this. Okay, doing that. So I don't know if if I still have it. Yeah, I still have it. So you have you have a on commit. Okay, so you do this, and then you have this. Okay, I'm committing the change. Well done. Okay, you make it explicit, right? You make it clear, but also you understand that it's not unless you have no other alternative. Okay, but it shouldn't be all the fields to
Are you
do
supposed
to
to be
have
showing
something
your
like
screen,
this.
Nick?
Okay, otherwise, yes.
Are you supposed to be showing your screen yet?
No, I'm not showing. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
I assume that you're still like doing your introductory chat, but people are like,
Yeah,
show
no,
your screen.
it's
I'm like, oh,
okay.
did I miss something?
I forgot that I didn't share the screen yet, so
Yep.
it's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Ken.
So,
I still thought he was still doing the intro
what I
chat.
was saying is, if you need a trigger to go somewhere, you need to make it explicit. You go somewhere, you do your stuff, and then you come back and go, right? So you need to make it explicit and not trying to say, don't look at don't look at this. No, don't look this. You try to hide it, but you cannot. And you have the flickering and you have the thing like this, right? So this is a must, and don't go anywhere from where you are. And don't launch crazy things. So what's the definition of crazy? If you have more than half second, which is a long period of time, half second. I swear it's a long period of time, half second. Let's say half second. Half second is significant. It's significant. If you have more than half second wait time when you trigger something, don't do it. It's crazy. So I know it's crazy, but that's a reason why I'm explaining to you most of the time that you need to have cast-out window, open a window, do what you need to do in the window, and then you have a validate button. You understand? So you avoid to have what's the name? A portal. Let's say you have a portal, right? And you want to edit a record in the portal, and each time you need to update something when you're done. So each time you update a record in that portal, you have a trigger that says, do this. You have a script, do this, go to that, you have something on the background happening. Instead of opening a window in the table, in the list view, edit what you need to edit, and at the end having a button validate, right? That is the reason why, and you know what? Okay, you know why FileMaker never get rid of this dialogue here? It's because they have we today we don't need to go to manage database to edit fields. We can do everything from here. Field option, delete field, rename field, create field. We do everything from here. Why they still do have this? Okay, but for this reason, for this guy here, because they need a button. They need the OK button. They need the OK button. This OK button trigger a bunch of things, and they cannot have those bunch of things happening like in a trigger, like it is now here. This here, it's just a bunch of trigger. That's the same, that's the same thing. They do a bunch of trigger when they do this, right? So you need to avoid complications. So let's continue in the trigger, visiting stuff. Okay. So we look at on layout enter yesterday, And so on layout exits, it's also a good way to to do things sometime. The on layout side change needs to be explained a little bit. So let's say I have an on layout size change. So why they what's the name? What they name it like this and not on window size change? Okay, so layout size. So why they didn't? Because it's not a window size, because it is working on Go as well. For example, when you rotate your phone on your iPad on FileMaker Go, it's a layout size change, right? So you can intercept that as a change of size, but it's not. We cannot call that a window because there's no window on iPhone. So that's why they call it on layout size change. So what happened when you do this? When you put something here, and that can be good sometime. The layout side change is when you change this, when you change the size, right? When you do this, boom. Yeah, each time you modify the size, boom, okay? Or you modify the size, boom, right? So so you can do you can trigger things when you change the layout size, right? So of course, sometime what I'm doing here, it's that when you change the size and you go small, you can say go to another layout. So let's do an example. So let's say, right, you have here, you want a new layout, a new layout, right? Small, a small layout. Okay. So let's put small here. Okay, that's a small layout, and that's a small layout. So the small ones. So you do this. You know, you have a small version of it because you resize it, right? So, and then you have here. So this is. So something you need to know about is this. Okay, so always what I do here, I have a data viewer with typical stuff here. Okay, I have typical things here, and most of the time I don't have it here, but because I changed the version of FileMaker, so I forgot that. But most of the time here I get window 8, okay, and I get window width, okay, always. Then I have this available to me anytime. So I have the window 8, window width, right? So let's put that here. So see here, I have always, I have under watch, I have ready to use, you know, there some information here, modification count. Oh, I have this already. So see, I have those automatic kind of things coming. So I don't need to call them. So for example, if let's say we decide that if the width is less than 480, okay. So here we say if get window width 480, go to layouts, we go to the small layout, right? Else go to what the name of this layout is, the contact, right? Yeah. Otherwise, go to layouts go to layout contact. Okay. So now, so if it's so if I do this, nothing happened. But if I do this, then okay, this it goes up. Why it doesn't? Okay. If width inferior, otherwise okay. Okay. Now it doesn't work. Okay. Oh, because I need to put the sorry. I need to put the thing here too. Okay. So now I have it. So if the width is like this, small like this, big like this, small, big, small, big. So that's cool. Okay. So you can say, okay, if you can do something yourself, because you can, when you resize, if you resize a window, let's say you have a resize window, okay, resize, and you resize a window, yeah, move resize the window, the width is 450, okay. Let's say you resize the window with triggers. So you can just resize the window and then it goes. So sometimes when you say, okay, or if you want to open a CalStar window, or so you can play with this. You know what I mean? You can do something completely automatic without to think about scripting it all the time. You understand? So you can do smart thing here if you want to do. And just I want to show you that the resize function in a script step will action we trigger the script, right? You missed the audio cue. Don't know what I mean. Nick, show your okay. All right. So that's all. So let's continue. So the size change is interesting. On mode enter and on mode exit. So this is when you change mode. Okay. So what a mode? First you have find, layout, and preview. Browse, find, layout, preview. So you can launch something on mode exit, on mode load. For example, okay, a typical example on mode, on mode enter, for example, you say, so now you have to, you have to, so you have a window mode. So you can say if window mode. So if you have like me, sometimes you don't remember everything. So you can say get window mode. Okay. So 0 is browse, 0 is broad mode, find mode is 1, and layout mode 4, and preview mode is 2. Okay, that's what I want to know. So preview mode is 2. Okay. So let's say here, if get layout mode, where's layout mode? Yeah, layout mode. Okay. Window mode, sorry. Window mode equal to, I want show the show the toolbar. Okay, I want to show it. Otherwise, hide it. Okay, so this is what I want to do. Show, hide. Okay, so here, if I put window mode, if I put myself in preview, oh, I need to put the trigger. So if I put the trigger on the mode enter, yep, preview, browse, preview, browse. So you have the bar that's coming. Another cool one is to do this. and you say else. So you can play with it, you know. If this equal is superior, strictly superior to 1, show, otherwise hide. Why? Because you saw that everything is more than 1. 0 is browse mode, right? So I don't remember what file mode is. What is the file is 1, right? Yeah. Okay. So it's not if it's superior 0. Okay. If the window mode is superior than 0, then I want to show it. So file mode, I have it, right? Browse mode, I don't. File mode, browse mode, file mode, browse mode, because most of the time we need the toolbar in file mode, but not in browse mode, right? So you can. This is how you play. You play with it, right? So you play with this. So you have her on layout and on mode enter and mode exits, you know. So I like, so for example, I want to, most of the time, I want to remember things when I go browse mode and when I go layout mode, because when you go layout mode, it's triggering too. Okay, so let me show you. If I go layout mode, you know, so if I change from layout mode to browse mode, yeah, from layout mode to browse mode is working, you know. I'm in layout mode, I can do this, bam. So because you want things to, you as a developer, you go layout mode, browse mode, layout mode, browse mode. You want to retrieve the status where you were, you know, go to, I don't know, go to an object, you know, the last object visited or something like this. I'm doing that a lot. So I'm using the on layout exit and on layout mode, you know, on layout mode. So those are things we need to know. After that, the view change is obvious, okay? So that's something interesting too, because the view change is when you change this guy here, right? For example, you have different views. So how you know the view, you know? You have a function, what view gets view something, no? Layout view state, yeah. Okay, so this is the function to say to you know to catch the view states. So 0, 1, and 2, simple. Okay, a form view, list view, table view. Okay, so you can say here under view mode, you know, view mode. You can say if gets layout view mode view state equal to, okay, you can say sort. You can trigger sorting, okay. Sort record by name, okay. So each time you go, so now you have this and the view, the trigger, and you say, okay, on view change, oh, it's on view change, okay, view change, okay. So let's rename view change. Oops. Okay, on view change. So if I do this, I'm going there and I click here, bam, it does it. If I click here, it will ignore it because I'm not in the 2, right? So here, when you have a doubt, here, when you have a doubt, what happened? Here, it said the script will run after switching to the form. What that means, after? That means that this will return the state after the action happened. So it will switch to the mode and then trigger. So since it switched to the mode first, right? That's why this will be based on the new state after the trigger. Okay, so the thing trigger and it changed the mode and then trigger. You know what I mean? So it comes after the change. Sometime here, so you need to make sure you decipher FileMaker terminology. Run after any record. So you load the record and then it trigger. Okay. Commit is when an attempt is made. Attempt means that can fail, can be stopped, can be prevented. It's an attempt. If the attempts go through, then the trigger happens. That means the trigger will come after that. They didn't want to say after. Why? It's because it could fail. So they cannot say after. Because after means it's after. No, because I can stop it. I can commit and I can make it not working. Revert the same, because we can prevent the revert to happen. On keystroke, is when a keystroke is received. So it will work whatever what. When a keystroke is received, bam. Okay. On layout enter, it runs after. So it goes to the layout and then, so the script you will run on the new layout you just say to go. It won't do in the layout you were. That's why you have on layout exits, because it runs before. So this is the difference. Layout enter runs after. It goes to the layout and then run the script. So the script you will run in a new context with a new layout, right? Here, no. It's the opposite. It will run before. So you will run the script in the current context, in the current layout, and then goes to the layouts. Okay? So that's what I want to explain. The layout side change, that easy each time, after. So you resize the window, then you have the script running. What that means? It means that if you wanted, you will lose the knowledge of the size of the window before you move it. If you move, you understand? That means the script will run on the new window state. So that means if you want to say, how many pixels I have more on my window, you have no way to know it, because the script will run in the new size. You understand? Okay. The mod enter and mod exit is a little bit like the layout enter, layout exit. Let's explain. The mode, you enter the mode after entering the new mode. So that means it goes to the new mode. That means everything you will do, the script will run with the mode you are now, in the new mode, not the mode you were when you triggered. The mode exit is the opposite. It will run before. Okay. It will run an attempt. Why an attempt? Because you can fail, and that is due to the browse mode, to the layout mode. You can fail with the layout mode. On the view change, each time you change, you switch, it will do it. So after switching, so that means you will first go to the new mode, to the new view, and then, so you will do it on the new state, on the new view, not on the previous one. You will lose the knowledge of the previous one. In that case, if you need to know, when I launched the trigger, it was list view. It was list view. Do this now in the new mode. You need to store it. You need to have somewhere where you store where you were the last time you entered the layout. Say, oh, I was in there, I was in that view. Okay, so you need to store it before. Do we have any question here? When is the month long?
That will start, Canberra. It doesn't, not that it matters, but the month-long beginner training starts May 16th, I believe. So,
Okay.
other than that, you think you're good to go, Nick.
Okay. So now I want to explain a little bit those three here. So that is self-explicit. Okay. Sometimes you want things to happen on a mode. For example, you don't want a script to have. You don't want any. You don't want the on view change, for example, on file mode and preview mode, for example. You don't want that. Here on the mode enter, right? On the mode enter, you don't want the find mode and preview, for example, or you want only on find, not on browse. So you can decide, where you when you are going to do the action, and you can ignore one of those modes here: browse, find, and preview. Okay, because sometimes you have conflicts, and you say, okay, I want to I want the onCommit, but not on find, right? Not on find. That one is by default like this. By default, most of the time, find is ignored. Find preview is ignored. You have, by default, it runs on browse by default, right? So just this one, no. This one, because it's a mode, those are modes, and this is the mode enter. So they want to make sure that it works on every mode. But you can ignore trigger and find mode, ignore trigger and preview mode, so you don't have to take care of it. Okay. So if you don't have any question, I'm going to switch to another category, the most interesting one, which is the objects, right? So the objects, we can have triggers on many objects. We can have triggers on what's the name? We can have triggers on polls, triggers on popovers, right? We can have triggers on, of course, we can have triggers on the most interesting one, which is the slide control and the tab control, which is the same. Okay. We can have interesting one here. So I'm going to focus on on field, of course. On fields, we can have triggers, right? We can have triggers on every single object, by the way, but I'm going to focus on some of them because we have a time issue, right? So the first I want to address is the field, obviously. On object, so we have many states here. On object enter, on object keystroke, modify, validate, save, exit. So I'm going to work through a little bit of this. So on object enter, so when you have on object enter, okay, on object enter. So you have this show dialog, okay, object enter. So when you have on object enter here, it shows whatever you do. Enter, it shows. If let's put here on object enter. Okay, so now it goes. You go in the object, it goes. Whatever you do, it goes. You cannot prevent it. So that can be a good opportunity, okay, for example, to make sure that you trigger something when a user is entering a field and you need, for example, to advertise and say, okay, hey, dangerous, it's dangerous, okay? Are you sure you want to edit this, right? So when you enter up, are you sure? The advantage of this and not being a button, why? Is because you can have, with the tab is working. So let's say I'm here, tab, 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 and when I, boom, see, with the tab, it's entering. So it's not clicking, it's entering. You can enter with a click. And of course, okay, if you have a go-to field, you know, go to field, and you say go to this one, it triggers, okay, a go to field. So that the on object enter, which is good. Now we have the keystroke on objects. We saw last time, okay, that we can prevent things to happen. For example, on the dates, okay, or whatever. Let's say here, I don't want space. You know, I want to prevent space. Okay, so I go there, right? So you have a keystroke. So on keystroke, each time you type on that field. So you have on layout keystroke, which I'm going to deactivate because otherwise, okay, yeah. On layout keystroke is whatever, even if you don't have any field active, it will work. Here, it will first look for on field, on object keystroke, right? So if I want the on object keystroke, and I want to prevent space in a field, okay? I say if the code of the get trigger, the keystroke in the trigger. So we have a function here that's hijack the keystroke of the trigger. That function is valid for the on layout keystroke and on object keystroke, okay? Because they both for triggers, okay? So if the code of the get keystroke equal 32, which is space, okay? Space, not space. Then what happened? Oh. So if that's true, just alt, okay? So if you do this here on object, okay, on object keystroke, I can write what I want, delete, but space, no space, right? I can. So, because I have the trigger on keystroke. Now, if I go there, you know, now I can't here because, you know, but if I put the keystroke, the on layout keystroke, right? If I put this one on layout keystroke, right? So to ignore blank on layout, I can't put blank here. I can't put blank here. I can't, even when I strike space, you know, it doesn't do anything, right? Because the layout is on top of the object, okay? So the layout will take over on the object, right? So make sure you know that. So that on layout keystroke, which is okay, on object keystroke. Now, something that is interesting to see and to know is the on objects, those three. Modify, validate, save, exit. Those are very important, okay? The on object modify is not on object keystroke. So let me explain the difference between those two. Let's say I have an on-object, I think I have an object modifier, yeah, okay. Let's say I have an on-object modifier, okay, right? So each time I'm going there, okay, modify, modify, because I type something, I modify. Yes, but this also is modifying. Insert current username, okay? So it's modifying. Again, right? I'm here, and I have a script step that goes to that insert the current username in the field. That is modification. It's not only typing in the field. It's not only this, okay? Now, the difference between this is theirs. So let me deactivate a little bit those, because I have a lot of triggers that's low, okay? I don't know what happened. Okay, right? So I have a, okay, here, deactivate this, oh, I have a, because I have a on layout, change stuff, okay. Okay, so let's say now I'm putting this on the keystroke, right? Not on the modifier, I'm putting this on the keystroke. What happened? If I use this, it's not modifying. It's keystroke, only keystroke. Is not something else. Modifying is modify. Anything, keystroke, script step, whatever. It's anything that modifies, it triggers. That's the difference between those two, okay? So it's keystroke can be interesting for things. If you want to say, okay, yeah, I don't want, if I'm insert, because, and that's the difference between many things, like this, for example. Let's say, one day we had a discussion, I remember during a webinar, what's the difference between set field and insert? Why they have insert, right? Because you have a bunch of inserts. Insert calculated results. What's the difference between insert calculated results and set field? Let's do this one, okay? So calculated results, I want our get username. Okay. What's the difference between this, right? What the difference between this and this? Set field, the name, with the get username. What's the difference? So let's go to the layout mode and make it on modify, right? So so I have this, yeah, no, it's insert, yeah, so it's yeah, so I have the on modify here, okay? So now when I modify it, I have this, right? Cool. So now look, I am inserting a calculated result in the field. Boom, it modifies it. Now, I'm setting the field. Look, it's empty, setting the field, no modification. Now, empty, and I'm doing this. Insert, boom. This is a modification. So now you see the difference between insert calculated result and set field. To be honest with you, it can be cool sometimes to have this. Okay, you can play with this. You can do smart things with when you know how to juggle with this, because you prevent yourself to have, for example, oh yeah, I have a calculation here. I have a trigger on unmodified that do this. okay, I want to make sure that when I have a script step that modify this, when I set the field, it does the trigger as well. So you use insert calculated results. But it needs to be, the difference between the insert and the set field is this, right? Let's say it's not there. The field not there. Okay. So let me make sure the field is empty. Okay, it's empty. Okay. So I'm deleting the field from the layout. Okay, it's not there. Insert calculation. We failed, because he inserted the name. Yeah, he did this. He inserted the name on this one. So because he looked for the first one. So let's remove this one for now. So I remove this one and I remove this one. So now I'm inserting this. It fails. Field is missing. Okay. So now I'm setting the fields. Right? It does it. So it does it because set field doesn't need to have the field in the layout. Insert, yes. Okay. So I want to make sure that I have that being said, to make sure that everybody knows the difference between those two, insert and stuff like that. So now the difference between, so that we have an on modifier. So, and we know the on modifier is kind of a hammer, okay? It's like, it's happening. Okay. So now what happened when the difference between validates and save, okay? I mean, let's keep validate for now. Let's do the on object save and on object exit. What the difference between save and exit, okay? So I'm using much more save than exit. Let's say I'm putting something, let's do the on commit stuff here. Let's do this and duplicate this on objects save, okay? On object save, and I'm putting this. Okay. So have a, and let's have a yeah, okay. So I have this. So now I'm putting this the on object save, I'm putting this. Okay. And I'm entering the layout, the field, and I'm getting out of the field. Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing, right? So that there, oh, battery life. I'm entering the field, nothing happened. As I go out of the field, nothing happened, right? But if I make a change, and now I get out, something happened. Okay, so if I change, something happened. But if I don't change, nothing happened. Which is cool, because sometimes you don't want to trigger something if nothing has changed. Why you want to trigger something? You understand? Nothing changed, so okay, ignore it, ignore everything, because nothing changed. So that's the difference between the save and the exit, because the exit will always happen. Always happen. Whatever what, I click outside, it goes. I didn't change anything, but it goes, right? So that's the difference between what's the name? The exits, the save. When you want to, to do something only when data changed, you need to use the save. So now, what the difference? What is the validation? Okay, validation is interesting. So I want to do it on the dates. I have an on-object validate on dates. So what the validation? I put a date here, okay, and I have an on validation. First of all, you see the validation works like the save. If you didn't have any change, it won't do anything. Now I'm changing this. Now I have on, I have on save, but I need to on object save. Why is it that? Hold on. On object validate. Okay. Sorry for that. Okay, so that's why I was surprised. So now I'm changing this to 22. I have on object validate, right? It happened. So, so what the validation? The validation is when, let's ignore that for now. Let's say I'm putting something like this, okay? Doesn't exist. That's the validation. Is it valid? Is it correct? Is it something, is it true, you know? And here, no. You know, we have a problem here. It doesn't exist, you know, the 202,020, you know, FileMaker cannot go there. So for the dates. So you go okay and you stay there and you can fix it, right? And now you have a problem. So you don't have a problem, you know, so it's not going to validate, right? So you can do something like this, okay? First, let's do this. You have a validation action. So you validate. You try to validate the record, the field. Then here it triggers immediately before the validation attempt. Okay, it triggers the trigger, and then you can say if it's not valid, right? You show the dialog. It's not valid, and then alt. That means you can say there's a problem here. You know, you can have you can have your custom validation kind of message. Say this is not valid. You know, it is not valid each time you go. It's not valid, right? You can fix it, and now boom. Because it goes through, right? If you do this, it said not valid. If you say this, it will trigger when you try to validate. So before the validation, it goes, and then it says, okay, it's correct, it's good. So ignore it. Go, continue, right? What's the difference between this and on object save, for example? Because that, you know, that's what is interesting. Is this. You click and you have this. It validates, right? It validates. So it tried to do the validation. It doesn't, and then if you pass it, it's safe, you know. But you say no, you know. You close it, you know. You do the validation and before, and it didn't. I don't know if it's not. It didn't even try to do the scripts, the save script. It don't, because you can't validate. You didn't pass the validation state. So this is not valid. It's too late. It's past. You know, it's past. So when you click, it doesn't even attempt to do the save. only, only if you do this, now it passed the validation, and then it's saved. So the logic is this, okay, on this. The logic is you enter an object that will run after the selected object. So that means everything you're going to do in that script trigger will be done in the context of being inside the object, right? Okay. You are in the object when the trigger launch. The on-object keystroke, right? You are in the object. You enter it. So it makes sense to make that after. Okay. And anytime you type something, it does something. Then behind the keystroke, you have the modify. Because the modifying is also, we saw it, insert stuff, can be a script step can be, right? And it runs after, the selected object is modified when active. So, you understand? So it's, you need to make a modification, right? To get the modification, the unmodified triggers. And then when you made the modification, you have the validation coming. Is it true? Is it a date? Or is it a number? Or is it something I need to know? I need to validate? Is that a validation? So, and then it runs before. So it tells you it's before the validation. So it will trigger the script before you validate. I mean, it lets you the chance in the script to do something before to make sure that's a validation. Okay. And then it will do the validation. But it will run the scripts before the validation, after the modification. So it will, you modify this, you do a modification in the object, in the field. Then you try to validate. Before it do the validation, it lets you trigger a script, and then if the script passes, then you validate. When you have the validation, you have the save. That means it's going to close it's going to go away, close the field, right? It's going to go away from the command S, the Alt S, the save is going to do this, and then run after. So it does the change. That means it does the save, and then you have the script. That means the data inside the field will be available during that script. If it was running before, you understand? So now that you know how to read that, okay? You understand what to do. You do if you hear a modify, you know what? The data inside is not available. It's not available. You didn't, for example, if you do an unmodified, and you have a relationship based on that modification, that you can establish or break a relationship with that, the relationship won't work because it needs to be saved. So you won't have the relationship information if you modify it. It's too early. When you validate, it's too early. Is when you save, because it's after the change. Then when you save, it will get you the result of a relationship, right? And then we have the exit. So the on object exits is when everything you enter, and when everything passes, then you exit. So that will always happen when you exit the objects. Okay. When you exit the object. So do we have any questions?
Yes, we've got a couple.
Okay.
Let me pull up and see. Okay, so if in a field with on object exit, it changes the layout will execute.
I don't understand the question, by the way.
It is from David. If in a field with on object exit, if you change the layout, will it execute? I think is what David Angel is saying.
No, it will. If you change the layout, no, it will do. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it will, because you get out. So let's try it. Let's say I have an on object exits. Let's use this one. Okay, on object exit. So each time I get out, I have this, right? Get out, I have this. If I'm here and I'm going to another layout, it will do it. Right? It will do it because it has to get out of the, of the layout. So it has to get out of the field. So when you in the field, it won't ignore what you had to do, right? So pretty much when you have an action that is coming in, like keystroke or insert field and stuff like that, the layout has a precedent. When you get when the action is toward the layout, toward the object, then the layout takes precedent. But when it is the opposite, when you get away from a layout, the object takes precedence. Okay. I don't know if I'm clear with this, but it's So next question.
I don't think I see questions so much as just comments. Any other questions, people?
We don't have? And then because we have the script needs a counter in it. So the error says it's still not a valid date for when you don't fix it the first time. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that, a counter. Look like the list of object triggers are firing order. Yes, exactly. So that's something I wanted to mention. As for this also is in the order. You load the record, you commit, reverts, that on the record side. They should have put a kind of separation here. Then you have on the layout side, so you have that for record. You load, commit, or revert. Those are on the same level. Okay, those are go away. That is go. Go forward, and this is go backward. Okay, but it's pretty much at the same level. But first this, then either of those two. Then you have on layout keystroke first. On layout enter, exits, you change, and then you have the modes, the view, you have only one. They should have put I think it's the lazy on their parts, because you have you have sections like this, but you have implicit section because of the name, right? But here is interesting because it's right. Those are in the following order. You enter, then you have the keystroke, then you modify the keystroke and modify it. Then when you made a modification, you can validate. Otherwise, if you don't have modification, all of this won't work. So and then on object exits, and then on panel switch. Panel switch is just the one I want to to show. Panel switch is, you know, on panel switch, I want to show you this one, and then we go. I'm showing dialogue because it's more common. It's better to you know. So here we have different triggers here. You know, we have different get trigger. Get trigger. So we have the target panel, right, and the current panel. Targets, current. So I want the target panel, for example, okay? So what this returns, so on panel switch is when you switch a panel, you put there, you can see, for example, on the field, this is not available. Makes sense. It's available only on slide and tab. So let's say I have this, right? And I put a name. I need a name here. This is slide 1. This is slide 2. And this is slide 3. You need to put a name. I mean, if you want to use that correctly, you need a name. Okay. So I switch up. I said, okay, I'm going to panel 2. Okay. I'm going to panel 3. So, you know, and I'm going to panel 1. But this returned 2 information. I don't know if you noticed this. 2, slide 2. 3, slide 3. This returns 2 values. The number of the slide, whatever, because I could have named the way I want, right? I could have named this here. I could have named Nick, Marge, and Scott, okay? Could have named like this. So I could have said this, you know, Marge, you know, and Scott, okay. But you have always one, the first is number 1, okay? So I can say if here, if get equal 1, get value, right, of this value 1, I want only the first of the get trigger panel. I have 2 values. I have the number of the panel, whatever the name, and the name. I don't care the name. I don't want the name. So get value, you know, and I said if this equal 2 or equal 3, I want you are in Scott's panel. Okay? So now I'm here, nothing happened, boom. I'm in Scott panel. Boom. You know? And you said, if you want, if get last message choice equal 1, you can say you know, or equal 2, you say alt. So I say, okay, go, no go, for example, okay? So here nothing happened, and here you have this. I'm not, so let's rephrase. You are attempting to enter Scott's panel. are you sure? Right? For example, are you sure? And you said yes, no, right? So you said yes, and you said no. So now if I said no, don't go. So that's why, so that's a way to use those things, right? You click here, you say, you are attempting to enter Scott panel. Are you sure? Yes, no. The difference, if I say yes, I go, right? If I say no, I don't go, right? You can see by the color. Here, I say yes, I go. Here, if I said no, I don't. So I never went there. So that's the difference between target panel and current panel. Because if I said, you are attempting to go, no, that means if you wait until go to the current one, so you need to go and then in the current. So the difference between the current will have been this with the current. Let's say I said current, get trigger current panel equal 3. You are into Scott panel. Be aware, okay? Okay, you are fine. Or we can say okay? So you can say this, okay? So if it's her, okay, go to panel, go to objects, Nick, for example, okay? So now it's different. So let's see what's going on. So when you get in, okay. So now you are in, you know. So you are in the. So when you in, the current one is. So you understand what I mean. So the in will say, okay, you are in the panel number 3, and then you want, if you want to go, fine, you know. So so you understand the difference. So when you get in there, nothing happened. When you leave there, say, okay, hey, the current is 3, is number 3. So the current is number 3. Then you this, okay? Okay. So if you don't have any questions, I think we're good.
I think we're good. Thank you very much, Nick. It'll be fun to have you on Monday where we can have a Q&A with you and they can ask you about anything.
So prepare your. So I hope this helped you a little bit. Did that help you a little bit, folks? I need to know. You know, to know if that's. Did you have things that you didn't know before, or because it's good stuff. Okay, cool. It's we can stay a month on talking about triggers, but remember my advice: do not go away from trigger. You know, when you're on a trigger, stay where you are. And okay, cool. So Monday, come with questions and cool ones, and let's have fun Monday.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. I'm gonna run the music.
Okay.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license
Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.